must be stopped. They're all hypocrites. All of them are hypocrites. They must be stopped. I don't know what's wrong with them. They must be stopped right now. They're all hypocrites. They said, Rupi Gopet said she did not know who she voted for, while Sunny and all know. See them, they're calling all of America deplorables. Look at this.
So what happened last night? Anybody do anything interesting? Okay. The 2024 presidential race ended yesterday, and this is what the country and the world woke up to this morning. Take a look.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
So, how you feel?
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made, but I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult, but boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah. Well, was America makes a perilous choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country, because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons.
Well,
and so that box better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear, and I'm always
immediately. And I tell you, there's a quote I get a lot of inspiration from, and it's a quote that I read when I was reading about John F. Kennedy. And it says, "Whether I am on the winning or the losing side is not the point with me. It is being on the side where my sympathies lie that matters." And that to me brought me consolation and inspiration this morning, because I have no regrets.
Yep.
I worked hard as hell to elect the first Black Asian woman president. History slipped through our fingers again. I worked hard as hell for Donald Trump not to be president. But today, unlike Donald Trump and his followers, I acknowledge that he won. I hope for the best for our country. And I make a commitment to our LGBTQ, to our immigrants, to our elderly, to our young girls, to the women, that we will not stop fighting. We can be sad today. Today we can be sad. Tomorrow we stand up and we continue. We have every right as Americans, because we love this country, because this is the most exceptional country in the world, we have the right and the duty to speak up and denounce abuses of power, to be vigilant. And so I invite all Americans to do it. But we are doing what they didn't do. We are recognizing they won. Now let's see what happens when he is governing.
So, well, you look. We said to people, vote. We didn't tell people who to vote for.
Right.
We just said, go out.
Well,
Yes, but I did not.
Yeah, I did.
Because I wanted to make sure people exercised that right. Too many people that I know died trying to vote.
Yeah, right.
Okay? So we start with that. And think about this. She did this in 2 months.
yeah, no.
She did this in 2 months.
She left it all on the
You
field.
know,
Yes, she
look,
did.
she, you know,
The
everybody
flawless campaign.
can always say, oh, she should have done this, she should have done this, she did what she did. She was everywhere. She talked to everybody, and people didn't come out. I don't know why, and it doesn't even matter. He's now the president. I'm still not going to say his name. That's not going to change. Yeah.
I have faith that some good, decent people are going to work for him. I've heard from some folks today. I think there's some reasons to be hopeful that people who believe in public service in the country are going to go in.
The thing that I wanted to finish up with is it's hard for some of us to hear that rhetoric
Yeah.
after 50 years. Somebody else.
To voters overall. So that says that they voted for a guy who wanted to overthrow the election, who also said he would be a dictator on day one. And they also said that democracy was number one. So I'm concluding that maybe they don't believe him.
But I think
No,
that
it's
means
a
I think it
Rorschach
means
test. It
different
means
things.
different-
I
right?
think democracy means different
Different
things.
things.
It means
to
a different
different
thing.
people.
Well, when we were trying to overthrow a legitimate election and you say you're going to be a dictator, I don't know how you interpret that any other
As a
way,
democracy.
frankly. So I can only conclude that they don't believe he's going to do that. And I hope they're right. I hope that they are right.
Is the plan. I firmly believe that the reason that he was running again to be president was partially because he wants to sort of milk money out of the government, which is what he did the first time. He was running to stay out of jail.
That's right.
What he was doing. If we're being honest, okay?
And it worked.
But let me say the other thing I want to say is, you know, a lot of people are blaming Merrick Garland and saying, why did he take?
I think she just called half the country miserable. Watch this clip.
Out this morning, I had trouble trying to figure out because there was nothing in the thing.
In the
There's
process.
something in the air. So
Yeah.
just know something is
Mercury's
chewing
in
on us.
retrograde.
You know what's in the air, Wumpy?
What's in the air?
Trumpism. We lost the election. Wait a minute. We lost the election. We're miserable. Half of this country is miserable. And let's just tell the truth. We hate that he won. We hate it. And everybody's uptight and crazy right now.
Well, then I'm going to say to that machine over there, you stop blaming me. You do what you're supposed to do. You bring up the words I need to say. So what I need to say is we're going to go back to the convo that we were having.
Must we? All right, go ahead.
I'm not going to say I hate that he won. I don't feel that
do.
way, but I do want to be very clear-eyed about the policies. And so the last point that I was going to make is there is zero statistical significance that voucher programs improve overall student success. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Research has shown that students who use voucher programs to leave a public school and then attend a private school do worse academically,
But Linda
especially in
McMahon,
math and
who is
English.
going to head the Department of
That's just the truth.
Education.
So this morning, they surprised a lot of viewers when they talked about how a long-time warning about you-know-who poses a dangerous threat to the future of democracy. So this morning, they surprised a lot of viewers when they talked about how they spent the weekend. Take a look.
Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade.
Don't the gravitas of the office was going to change him. It didn't. In 2024, people voted knowing who he was. And nothing that he is doing as concerning as I find it and disturbing as I find it, should be shocking, because he told us he was going to do these things.
Yeah.
He was surrounded by the people he's appointing, and he is keeping to his word. And people voted for him knowing that. And so it's hard. It's a sobering truth. It's hard to reconcile that with what we have been doing for the last 8 years. I will never sit with him. I don't think I'm going to have to. I don't think I'm going to have to make a decision, because I don't think I'm ever going to get invited. And listen, the truth of the matter is, as we know around this table, that it is hard to criticize and denounce the abuses of power by Donald Trump when he is president. We have been there before. It means threats. It means death threats. It means retribution against your family. It means crazy things showing up at your house. It means lawsuits. It means all sorts of things. We've done it before, and if we have to do it again, we will do so again. I think there's a lot of people who are probably looking at what Joe and Mika did and find it opportunistic. There are people who change their stripes, or maybe their spots, I should say, today, depending on who is in power and what benefits them. President, we don't. I'm good.
When I disagree.
Are you talking?
Well,
Okay.
look, the bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power right now, more than ever. And I think that we have to be very clear-eyed when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense, journalists, but we have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked 3 Black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking him a question. And so I think that this president-elect, I hate to say it, would like nothing more than to have only Fox News cover him, would like nothing more than a state-sponsored media. And I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents can be trusted.
Nothing in the thing.
In the
There's
process.
something in the air.
Yeah.
So just know something is
Mercury's
chewing
in
on us.
retrograde.
You know what's in the air, Whoopi?
What's in the air?
Trumpism. We lost the election. Wait a minute. We lost the election. We're miserable. Half of this country is miserable. And let's just tell the truth. We hate that he won. We hate it. And everybody's uptight and crazy.
Life is no easy for Port food for the table, my mama does. Even as the water carry, she go the waka from Borokiri to trust somebody just to feed us. My papa said, believe us. They no one, so they cut off like scissors, so. Me, I go feel die for my mama goes. Me, I no one cry, say my mama lost. Me, I go feel kill for my mommy. Mommy, wipe your tears, I am sorry. The person you are looking is a bad boy. But when your mama talking, I attention.